woman is 6 times more likely to be separated or divorced soon after a diagnosis of cancer or multiple sclerosis than if a man in the relationship is the patient. Hello, I'm Summer Tothill and I regularly run Q&As with my supporters on Instagram on matters relating to gender equality. So what you're about to watch is 1 week's worth of these, and if you would like to get involved with them yourself, just come and follow me on Instagram at Summer Tothill. While you're here, please stick around and subscribe to my channel and check out the rest of the Ask a Feminist playlist. If you see signs of anger, such as frustration, impatience, a short wick, what is the breakup point? I think the important thing for you to look at is what are the implications of that type of personality type when it comes to working out problems, but also when it comes to your day-to-day experience of the world and whether it is contributing to your peace or making your life significantly more fractious. For me personally, people who have that type of personality now repel me like water off a duck's back. I just cannot be dealing with them. I prefer chill people, passionate, yes, but resilient and level-headed. And I think that as women, something we should not be encouraging or facilitating in men is anything but a move towards being more level-headed, more resilient, and less like over-emotional toddlers and babies. If you think about it, women don't generally get away with being really volatile and frustrated because we are expected to manage everybody else's emotions. And so why does a man get to just have this kind of firework pinwheel spinning emotional process that you are expected to go on the roller coaster ride with him on in a way that stops you from being able to moderate and soothe your own emotions? So I would look at anger and frustration, and particularly a short wick, as dangerous implications towards future escalated behavior, but also as an unpleasant current behavior in your day-to-day. Ultimately, what we should all be striving towards is a peaceful relationship where things are worked out respectfully and where the way that a person behaves on a day-to-day basis is adult and level-headed and respectful and measured and cooperative and doesn't sap all the energy out of the room by being in a mood that you are required to mollify and adjust and curate for him. Don't be a shock absorber for the mood of a frustrated, angry man. I think the fact that you have even asked this question means you are probably at that breakup point. And I'm here to say, if you were looking for my permission to break up, you absolutely have it. A person not having the personality and the vibe that helps you have a nice life is a perfectly valid reason to break up with someone. I have been diagnosed with a chronic illness, cannot work and rely on disability benefits. I don't want to be financially dependent on a man. And statistics say men leave their wives when they get diagnosed with serious illnesses, the wives that is. How do I navigate or process this? Firstly, I want to say I'm very sorry to hear about your diagnosis and about the condition that you're dealing with. I don't have a disability myself, but I do have chronic pain, and the condition that I have could well turn into a disability as I age. So I can't understand fully what it is that you're going through from a personal lived experience perspective, but it is something that I have thought about a lot. And I know that disability benefits are woeful and that navigating a disability or chronic illness is really difficult, and it would be good to have someone by your side while you do it. Having a disability is really financially compromising. Not only are disability benefits very low, getting married can actually make them lower, and you are very much compromised in your ability to do paid work. So it's a very you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't situation. And of course, there is a high probability that you're going to feel like you need to rely on a man or rely on someone to help you out. But of course, can men be relied upon when the statistics are there? And for those who don't know, the statistic that's being referred to here is from a study that was published in the New Scientist that said, quote, A woman is 6 times more likely to be separated or divorced soon after a diagnosis of cancer or multiple sclerosis than if a man in the relationship is the patient. And the study also found that the older the woman was, the more likely that the partnership would end. And so, of course, what that seems to speak to is an absolute faithlessness in men and this phenomena that women really exist to serve them, and that is the position that they see for us in their lives. And once we no longer have the same capacity to serve, and when it is us who needs serving and supporting, they dip out. I think we can look at this as one of these situations where, as Dan Savage would say, you tell a man one challenging thing about yourself and his response tells you everything that you need to know about him. I would never go so far as to say that an illness or a health condition or a disability is a blessing, but one of the positive things that you can get out of it is that you could use this disability, this chronic condition, as a way to really find which men are faithless and entitled and undeserving of your attention, and which ones are actually interested in you as a person and interested in supporting you. So the difference between your case and the cases in that statistic about men leaving their sick wives is that you are actually starting out with the condition. So any person who gets romantically involved with you now is going to know what they're getting themselves into, and they are going to take on the relationship with you with no real surprise about the fact that there are going to be challenges in it. And don't forget, those people themselves may have challenging behaviors of their own that you get to consider as something you either can or can't accept. So certainly don't stop thinking of yourself as the prize. Just as a side note, don't go into these relationships thinking that you should be grateful that anyone paid any attention to you at all. You still have a lot to give as a person, and they should feel privileged to get to be with you. And also, they should know that there are conditions and challenges that you're going to be facing together. This makes it much less likely that they're going to just dip out on you 20 or 30 years from now because you suddenly got sick, because you were already sick. I think in those cases, in that studied phenomenon, those men really thought in marriage that they had bought an appliance, which is how a lot of men do think of women. They thought they had bought an eternally functioning appliance that would work for them and facilitate them to have a nice life. And since the appliance broke, they felt entitled to discard it. Like they didn't even try to fix it like you normally would with an appliance. This is just classic men's objectification of women and entitlement to our labor. And yes, that phenomena is scary, but I think that is less likely to happen in your case because you already know that you have chronic illness and you can test a man's loyalty quite early on and see if there's any red flags. That's it for this Q&A. Thank you so much for listening. Find me on Instagram at summertothill. That's summer with an O, spelt the same way as you see in this YouTube channel. I can't wait to see you there.